So the state of Minnesota recognizes the importance of having a child be supported by both of their parents, and that includes both financial support and emotional support. And I think that the state of Minnesota cares about that because if a child has that stability growing up, they're going to grow up to be a healthier, more independent adult and member of our society. So child support can show up in a lot of different ways. Essentially what child support is an obligation of one parent to pay the other for the care for their shared child. So now a lot of people, they can work this out amongst themselves, that a child support agency or even a child support order itself is never needed because they can just work it out. There's people who perhaps were married, they get a divorce or a legal separation, then child support is going to be addressed in that particular legal action. Now you have another alternative where maybe people were involved together, it doesn't work out, and they're not able to agree on who's to pay for what and how to share those expenses. This is where the child support program can really be helpful. You can apply for services, and what the agency will do is will establish an order for one parent to pay the other. And what that is based on is a number of factors. You look at both parents' income, you look at the total number of shared children, you make other adjustments for other children that parents may have, sort of recognizing that you want to take into account all the families a person is supporting when you determine that support amount.
So both parents can apply for child support, or a caretaker, a relative caretaker such as an uncle, aunt, or grandparents, they can apply for services.
So if you're a member of a Minnesota tribe, there are in fact 4 tribes in the state of Minnesota that operate their own child support program. And so if you are an enrolled member of that tribe, you do have the choice. If you would like to, you could apply for services with the tribe, and I think that's very appealing for folks. But you don't have to. You can also apply in whatever county in which you're residing.
We calculate based on information that's provided to us from both the mother and the father. We'll take that and put it into our child support calculator, and using those guidelines, we look at the expenses of both parents. What's it going to cost for, daycare expenses, healthcare expenses, and once we have that determination, provide that to both of the parents, and that information is available for the public. Check out this video for more information on how child support is calculated.
How do courts determine child support amounts?
Child support is money one parent is court-ordered to pay the other parent for the support of their child when the parents don't live together. Minnesota courts use the guidelines in state law to set the amounts by considering the gross incomes of both parents and the number of joint children. After deductions for children each parent may have from other relationships, and an amount for parents to support themselves, courts use the guidelines to determine the monthly child support amount. Here's a simplified fictional example using the child support guidelines in state law. Kelsey and Sam have 2 children together. Kelsey's gross income is $3,500 per month, and Kelsey has the majority of the parenting time. Kelsey also receives a $300 deduction to support a child from another relationship living in the home. Sam's gross income is $4,300 per month, and Sam has parenting time every other weekend, every Wednesday, and extra time over the summer. Sam pays $400 per month in child support for a child from another relationship. After deductions for the children Kelsey and Sam have from other relationships, Kelsey's income for calculating child support is almost $3,200, and Sam's is $3,900. Together, their combined income is nearly $7,100. According to Minnesota's guidelines, the total amount of basic child support to be divided between Sam and Kelsey should be close to $1,500 per month based on their combined income. Kelsey's share, or 45% of $1,500, is nearly $675, but because Kelsey has the majority of the parenting time, the court will not order Kelsey to pay child support. Sam's share, or 55% of $1,500, is close to $825, but after adjusting for parenting time, the court orders Sam to pay about $750 per month to Kelsey for their 2 children.
So when you apply for child support through your local county office, it's really going to depend on sort of the facts of your particular case. If you have parentage established, then they can go right ahead and ask the court to get you an order. If you don't have parentage established yet, then the child support agency can help you not only do that, but then also get a support order to go along with it. If, for instance, parents already have an order for support, then they could apply to the local agency and they will right away start collecting that support to get to the other parent.
So this is very important to pay child support because this could be the only financial support that the child's receiving. This could also be the only tie that the child has with the parent. If you don't pay, some consequences can include license suspension, as well as tax refunds being intercepted, and a hold being put on your student grants. When your circumstances change, it's very important to speak with your caseworker. We can assist you in trying to get your court order obligation modified if it's necessary. We don't necessarily know what's happening unless there's communication.
So if you are incarcerated, I will stress again that you should always be in contact with your child support worker. Oftentimes, the worker will eventually find out if you're incarcerated due to our computer system, but anything you can do to be proactive and let them know as soon as possible, if it's appropriate for them to take that court order back into court because you're incarcerated, it'll just start the ball rolling a lot quicker. I think a lot of people are surprised that it does take another court order to change a child support order, so it doesn't happen automatically. It's always better to let your worker know what's going on and they can start that process if it meets the criteria.
As far as like the personal experience goes, I mean, I came from a separated family to where there was my brother and my sister and I, and we both were kind of like the human ping pong balls as the adults try to navigate what they're going through. And for a child, sometimes, you have a lot of these questions in the back of your mind. It can be a tough thing to understand. But at the same time, my personal experience going through that, it taught me how to be better when I have my own family, when I have my own kids. Sometimes learning what not to do is just as beneficial as learning what to do. And when folks are distrustful of the system, that's a common assumption to have. And so when they have these assumptions, the best things that we try to do as a child support office is to listen to their concerns, listen to their questions. The advice that I would give is when you're dealing with something like that is to kind of just approach it with an open mind. And the best thing to do is to ask any and every question, because to me there's no such thing as a bad question, just the ones that we don't ask. Because if you don't ask, you don't know, and that's our job, is there to help you. And having you ask those questions, you have a better understanding of what we're trying to do in helping your child.